Captain Jake Morrison stood at the observation deck of Aurora 7, watching the stars through the thick glass. The space station floated quietly in the dark between Earth and the outer colonies. Jake had been commander here for 3 years. Now he loved the peaceful routine of monitoring deep space signals. "Captain, we're getting some strange readings from the solar array," said Lieutenant Amy Chun, his second in command. She walked over with a tablet showing bright orange warning lights. Jake looked at the data and frowned. "That's not normal. The sun shouldn't be acting like this." Dr. Lisa Carter, the station's expert on alien languages and cultures, joined them at the window. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who could speak 17 different alien languages. "The solar flare activity has been increasing all week," she said. "I've been monitoring the galactic communication channels, and some species are already moving their ships away from our solar system." "Smart move," Jake said. "We should probably send a warning to Earth about this." Amy tried to contact Earth using their main communication system, but only static came through the speakers. She tried again with different frequencies, but nothing worked. "That's odd," Amy said. "I can't reach Earth at all. Let me try the backup systems." Jake felt a cold worry in his stomach. Aurora 7 was the main relay station between Earth and the galaxy. If their communications were down, it meant Earth was cut off from the rest of the universe. Dr. Carter went to her workstation and began checking the alien communication channels. Her face went pale as she read the incoming messages. "Captain, we have a big problem," she said. "The galactic network is still working fine, but there are no signals coming from Earth at all. The aliens are starting to notice." Jake walked over to look at her screen. The messages were in different alien languages, but Dr. Carter had translation programs running. The words made his blood run cold. "The humans have gone silent," read one message from the Corvan Empire. "This matches their historical pattern before military action." Another message from the Nexari Collective said, "Human trade signals stopped 3 hours ago. They may be preparing to break our agreements." "This is bad," Dr. Carter said quietly. "In galactic politics, sudden silence is never good. Different species interpret it in different ways, but none of them think it means something peaceful." Jake activated the emergency protocols and called his senior staff to the command center. Within minutes, the room was full of worried faces. "Listen up, everyone," Jake said. "We've lost all communication with Earth. A massive solar flare has probably destroyed their main communication array. But the galaxy doesn't know that. They just know that humans have stopped talking." Commander Alex Turner, who handled first contact procedures, raised his hand. "Sir, what do the aliens think is happening?" Dr. Carter answered for Jake. "They think we're planning something. The Corvan Empire thinks we're preparing for war because that's what they do before they attack someone. The Nexari think we're going to break our trade deals. The Shifted think we're plotting against them. But we're not doing anything," said Lieutenant Sarah Parker from the Communications Department. "We're just sitting here." "That's exactly the problem," Dr. Carter said. "In galactic politics, you have to constantly prove you're peaceful. You have to send regular messages saying what you're doing, what you plan to do, and that you're not a threat. When you stop sending those messages, everyone assumes the worst." Jake looked at the worried faces around him. These were good people who had signed up to explore space and help keep peace between humans and aliens. Now they were stuck in the middle of a crisis that wasn't their fault. "Can we contact Earth using our emergency systems?" Jake asked. Amy shook her head. "I've tried everything, sir. The solar flare was too strong. It fried every communication. Satellite between here and Earth. The Mars colony isn't responding either." "What about the backup array on the moon?" Jake asked. "That's connected to the main Earth system," Amy said. "If Earth's array is down, the moon's backup won't work either." Dr. Carter pulled up a map of the galaxy on the main screen. Red dots showed the locations of different alien fleets and space stations. "Look at this," she said. "The Coven ships near our border have changed their patrol patterns. They're moving into defensive positions. The Nexari have stopped sending trade ships toward human space. Even the peaceful species are acting nervous." Jake stared at the map. Humanity had worked for 37 years to build good relationships with alien species. They had fought in wars to protect smaller species from bullies. They had shared technology and knowledge. They had tried to be good neighbors in the galaxy. Now, because of a solar flare that nobody could control, all of that trust was falling apart. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. Dr. Carter checked her alien message logs. "Based on the galactic protocols, species are supposed to respond to communication attempts within 1 standard week. After that, the Galactic Council can take action." "What kind of action?" Commander Turner asked. "It depends on how they interpret our silence," Dr. Carter said. "They might send a diplomatic mission to check on us. Or they might decide we're a threat and send warships instead." Jake felt the weight of command pressing down on him. Aurora 7 was just a small monitoring station with a crew of 50 people. They couldn't fight a war, and they couldn't fix Earth's communication problems from here. "Sir," Lieutenant Parker said, "I'm picking up a coded message from the Galactic Council. It's addressed to Earth, but since we're the only human station still receiving signals, it's coming to us." "Put it on the main screen," Jake said. The message appeared in formal galactic diplomatic language. Dr. Carter read it aloud, translating as she went. "To the human government of Earth, the Galactic Council has noted the cessation of all human communications as of Galactic Standard Time 1430 today. As per the Galactic Peace Accords, all member species must maintain regular diplomatic contact to ensure peaceful intentions. The human government has 1 galactic standard week to respond to this inquiry or face consequences as determined by the Council." End message. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Earth had 6 days to fix their communication problems and send a message to the galaxy, or the aliens might decide that humans were planning something terrible. "Dr. Carter," Jake said, "in your expert opinion, what will happen if we don't respond in time?" Dr. Carter looked at her data about alien behavior patterns. "Best case scenario, they quarantine human space until they figure out what's going on. Worst case scenario, the more aggressive species convince everyone that we're preparing for war, and they attack first." Jake looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were making decisions about humanity's future. And Earth had no idea any of this was happening. 3 days had passed since Earth went silent, and the galaxy was getting nervous. Captain Jake Morrison barely slept as he watched the alien communications channels fill with worried messages. Dr. Lisa Carter worked around the clock, translating and analyzing every signal that came through Aurora 7 systems. "Captain, you need to see this," Dr. Carter said, her voice tired and strained. She had been at her workstation for 18 hours straight, drinking coffee and reading Alien messages. Jake walked over to her screen. The display showed a map of known space with different colored dots representing alien ships. In just 3 days, the pattern had changed completely. "The Coven Empire has moved 12 battle fleets to our border," Dr. Carter explained, pointing to clusters of red dots. "They're not attacking yet, but they're ready to fight. Their military communications are talking about the human threat and preparing for the worst." Jake studied the map. The Covens were a warrior species who had conquered half their sector before joining the Galactic Council. They understood only strength and viewed everything through the lens of military strategy. "What are the other species doing?" Jake asked. Dr. Carter switched to a different view. "The Nexari Collective has canceled all trade agreements with human colonies. Their merchant ships are avoiding our space completely. They think we're planning to steal their trade routes or break our economic deals. More dots appeared on the screen, showing the movements of different alien fleets. The peaceful ethereal union was pulling their exploration ships back to their home systems. The paranoid shifted were sending encrypted messages to their allies, warning about human conspiracies. "It gets worse," Dr. Carter said. "The smaller species are picking sides. Some of them remember that humans helped them fight off the Corvan Empire 20 years ago, so they think we're their allies. Others are scared that we'll abandon them like we abandoned our communications." Lieutenant Amy Chun joined them at the workstation. She had been monitoring human colonies throughout the sector, trying to get information about Earth's situation. "Any word from the Mars colony?" Jake asked. Amy shook her head. "Nothing. The solar flare hit the entire inner solar system. Mars, Venus, the asteroid mining stations, everyone is cut off. The only reason we can still communicate is because we're far enough away that our systems weren't damaged." Jake felt helpless. Aurora 7 was like a lighthouse in a storm, the only human voice the galaxy could hear. But they were too small and too far away to make any real difference. "Sir," said Commander Alex Turner, who had been analyzing alien military patterns, "I've been studying the Corvan battle formations. They're not just defensive positions. They're arranged for a quick strike into human space." Dr. Carter pulled up another screen showing diplomatic messages. "The Galactic Council is meeting every day now. Some species want to send a peaceful mission to check on Earth, but others are saying that human silence proves we're planning something terrible." "What do the peaceful species think?" Jake asked. "The ethereal union keeps asking for patience," Dr. Carter said. "They want to give humans more time to explain. But even they're getting worried. Their latest message says that human behavior is inconsistent with known patterns and suggests hidden intentions." Jake rubbed his tired eyes. Every species in the galaxy was interpreting human silence based on their own experiences and fears. The warriors saw it as preparation for battle. The traitors saw it as economic betrayal. The paranoid saw it as proof of conspiracy. Commander Turner brought up tactical displays on his workstation. "Captain, we're seeing increased military activity throughout the sector. It's not just the species near human space. Even aliens on the other side of the galaxy are moving ships and preparing defenses. Why would they care what humans do?" Jake asked. "We're nowhere near their territory." Dr. Carter answered while typing furiously on her keyboard. "Because the galaxy is connected, Captain. If humans are planning something big, it could affect everyone. Trade routes, alliance systems, resource distribution, everything is linked." She pulled up a complex chart showing galactic relationships. Lines connected different species, showing trade agreements, military alliances, and diplomatic ties. It looked like a giant spider web. "Look at this," she said. "Humans are connected to almost every major species through trade, military cooperation, or diplomatic agreements. If we suddenly become hostile, it breaks the entire system." Lieutenant Sarah Parker ran into the command center, holding a tablet with urgent messages. "Captain, we're receiving reports from human colonies. They say alien ships are acting strange near their systems." Jake took the tablet and read the reports. The news was disturbing. Human colonists were reporting that alien ships were watching them from a distance. Some aliens who had been friendly before were now cold and suspicious. Trade ships that used to stop at human stations were avoiding them completely. The new Austin colony reports that their Nexari trading partners canceled a major food shipment, Jake read aloud. "The colonists don't understand why. They think they did something wrong." Dr. Carter looked up from her workstation with worry in her eyes. "Captain, the colonists don't know about the communication breakdown, do they?" Jake realized the horrible truth. The human colonies scattered throughout the galaxy had no idea that Earth was silent. They didn't know why aliens were suddenly treating them differently. They were probably confused and scared, wondering what they had done to make their alien neighbors angry. "We need to warn them," Jake said. "We can't," Amy said sadly. "Our communication range is limited. We can receive signals from all over the galaxy, but we can only send messages to nearby systems. Most of the colonies are too far away." Commander Turner pulled up another tactical display. "Sir, I'm seeing something that worries me. The alien fleets aren't just positioning defensively anymore. The Corvan Empire has sent scout ships toward 3 different human colonies. They're not attacking, but they're getting closer." Dr. Carter translated more incoming messages. "The military communications are getting more aggressive. Some Corvan commanders are saying that humans are testing their defenses by staying silent. They think our silence is a psychological warfare tactic." Jake walked to the observation window and looked out at the stars. Each point of light might be an alien world making decisions about humanity's future. And all those decisions were based on wrong assumptions. "How much time do we have left?" he asked. Dr. Carter checked the countdown timer on her screen. 3 days and 14 hours until the Galactic Council's deadline expires. "And then what happens?" "Based on the military communications I'm intercepting," Dr. Carter said quietly, "the Corvan Empire will probably attack first. They're convinced that humans are planning something, and they want to strike before we can complete our preparations." Jake felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Aurora 7 was just a small monitoring station, but they might be the only thing standing between humanity and a galactic war. And they were running out of time to find a solution. "Keep monitoring everything," Jake told his crew. "And keep trying to reach Earth. Maybe someone down there will get their communications working before it's too late." But as he watched the alien fleet movements on the tactical displays, Jake wasn't sure that time was on their side. Captain Dan Miller was having the worst day of his life. His exploration ship Frontier had been studying a distant star system for 6 months, completely cut off from galactic communications. Now as they returned to human space, they found themselves surrounded by Corvan warships. "Human vessel, this is Commander Thack of the Corvan 5th Fleet," came the harsh voice over the radio. "You will power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Dan looked at his crew in confusion. The Frontier was a science ship with no real weapons, just basic defensive shields. They had been mapping planets and studying alien plant life. Why were the Corvans treating them like enemies? "Corvan Commander, this is Captain Miller of the human exploration vessel Frontier," Dan replied carefully. "We are unarmed and returning from a scientific mission. Why are you detaining us?" "Do not pretend ignorance, human," Commander Thack responded. "Your species has declared war on the galaxy through your silence. You will be questioned." Dan's heart sank. Something terrible had happened while they were away, and he had no idea what it was. Within an hour, Corvan soldiers had boarded the Frontier and taken Dan to their flagship for questioning. The interrogation room was cold and gray, typical of Corvan military design. Commander Thack was a large alien with thick armor and sharp teeth. He paced back and forth while Dan sat in a metal chair. "Your government stopped all communications 5 days ago," Thack said, his voice full of anger. "This is exactly what our enemies did before they attacked our worlds 300 years ago. What are humans planning?" Dan was completely confused. "I don't understand, Commander. We've been out of contact for months. What do you mean Earth stopped communicating?" "Do not lie to me, human," Thack growled. "Your species has gone completely silent. No diplomatic messages, no trade signals, no military reports. Nothing. This is an act of war." "But that doesn't make sense," Dan said. "Humans don't communicate through silence. If we wanted to declare war, we would tell you directly. We're not sneaky or indirect about these things." Thack stopped pacing and stared at Dan. For a moment, his angry expression changed to something like confusion. You truly do not know what your government has done? I swear to you, Commander, I have no idea what you're talking about, Dan said. Can you tell me exactly what happened? Maybe I can help explain. Over the next hour, Thak explained the situation. Dan learned about the communication blackout, the missed diplomatic signals, and the growing fear throughout the galaxy. As he listened, Dan felt sick to his stomach. Commander, Dan said when Thak finished, this sounds like a technical problem, not a military strategy. Humans are very direct. If we wanted to fight, we would send messages saying, we declare war, not stop talking completely. But your species is known for unusual tactics, Thak replied. You defeated our fleet 20 years ago using strategies we had never seen before. Perhaps this silence is another strange human method. Dan shook his head. That battle was different. We were defending smaller species from invasion. We had to be creative because you outnumbered us. But we never used psychological warfare or mind games. That's not how humans think. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Director Mike Collins was working around the clock to rebuild the communication array. The solar flare had destroyed more equipment than anyone first realized. What should have been a simple repair job had turned into a complete reconstruction project. How much longer? Asked Admiral Kevin Brooks, who had flown to the repair site to oversee the work personally. At least 2 more weeks, Collins replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. The flare didn't just damage the main transmitter. It fried the backup systems, the satellite relays, even the underground cables. We're basically starting from scratch. Admiral Brooks looked at the twisted metal and burned electronics scattered around the repair site. He had been a military officer for 30 years, but this kind of disaster was beyond anything he had trained for. Mike, you need to understand something, Brooks said quietly. We're not just fixing a communication system. The whole galaxy thinks we've declared war. Every day we stay silent makes things worse. Collins stopped working and looked at the Admiral. What do you mean, declared war? Brooks explained what they had learned from the few signals still coming through secondary systems. Collins listened with growing horror as he realized that his repair timeline might be too late to prevent a galactic conflict. Can't we send some kind of emergency message? Collins asked. Even a simple signal to let them know we're still here? We've tried, Brooks said. But the alien species want official diplomatic communications, not just random radio signals. They need to know that Earth's government is still functioning and peaceful. A simple beep won't convince them. Lieutenant Sarah Parker at Aurora 7 had been trying to contact other human outposts, hoping to create a communication network that could reach Earth. She managed to connect with a mining station near the edge of the solar system, Aurora 7. This is Mining Station Charlie, came the crackling voice. We can see Earth from here, and there's a lot of activity around the communication satellites. Looks like they're rebuilding everything. Charlie Station, this is Lieutenant Parker, Sarah replied. Can you estimate how long the repairs will take? Hard to say from this distance, but it looks like major construction. Probably weeks, not days. Sarah felt her heart sink. The galaxy wouldn't wait weeks for an explanation. According to Dr. Carter's analysis of alien military communications, several species were already positioning attack fleets near human colonies, back in Corvin. Space, Dan Miller was still trying to convince Commander Thak that humans were not planning any kind of attack. But their conversation was interrupted by an urgent message from the Corvin High Command. Commander Thak, report immediately, came the voice over the intercom. The situation has changed. Thak left Dan alone in the interrogation room for 20 minutes. When he returned, his expression was grim. Human Captain, Thak said, I have received new orders. The Galactic Council has voted to implement a military quarantine around all human space. No ships may enter or leave human territory. What does that mean? Dan asked. It means the galaxy has decided that humans are too dangerous to roam freely. Thek replied, "Until your government explains its silence, all humans will be confined to your own systems." Dan realized the horrible implications. Human trade ships, exploration vessels, and diplomatic missions throughout the galaxy would all be trapped or forced to return home. The quarantine would cut humanity off from the galactic community completely. "Commander, please listen to me," Dan said desperately. "This is all a misunderstanding. Humans don't wage war through silence. We're probably trying to fix whatever broke down. Give us more time." But Thak was already receiving new messages from his fleet. His expression grew even more serious as he read the reports. "Captain Miller," Thak said slowly, "the quarantine has caused a new problem. Some species believe the quarantine is preparation for an attack on humans. Others think it's not enough protection. 2 alien fleets have opened fire on each other near your colony world of New Texas. Each side believes the other is secretly working with humans." Dan stared at Thak in shock. The galaxy wasn't just preparing to fight humans anymore. The different alien species were starting to fight each other over what to do about the human silence. "How many ships are fighting?" Dan asked quietly. "Reports indicate at least 40 vessels from 6 different species," Thak replied. "And the battle is spreading. More fleets are choosing sides based on their past relationships with humans." Dan put his head in his hands. A simple communication failure on Earth had somehow triggered the beginning of a galactic war. And the worst part was that Earth still had no idea any of this was happening. Captain Amy Foster pushed her scout ship, Swift Arrow, through space as fast as the engines could handle. She had to reach Aurora 7 with urgent news from the outer colonies. What she had seen during her patrol would change everything. "Aurora 7, this is Captain Foster requesting immediate docking," she called over the radio as the space station came into view. "Amy, thank goodness you're back," came Captain Morrison's voice. "We need your report right away." 30 minutes later, Amy sat in the command center of Aurora 7, surrounded by Jake Morrison and his senior staff. Her face was pale and her hands shook slightly as she delivered her report. "The war has spread to 12 systems," Amy said. "I've seen battles between species that have been allies for centuries. The Nexari Collective is fighting the Ethereal Union over trade routes near our colonies. 3 different species are attacking Corvan fleets because they think the Corvans are planning to invade human space." Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her communication monitors. "The diplomatic channels are completely broken down. Species that used to cooperate are now accusing each other of being secretly allied with humans." "But that's crazy," said Commander Alex Turner. "We're not allied with anyone right now. We can't even talk to our own colonies." Amy continued her report. "It gets worse. I stopped at the New California colony to refuel. The colonists there are terrified. They've got alien warships fighting massive battles right in their star system. Some aliens are trying to protect the human colonists. Others are trying to attack them, and nobody knows who's on which side." Jake felt sick as he listened. The human colonies were caught in the middle of wars they didn't understand, fighting for their lives against species that had once been friends. "Did you get close enough to see the fighting?" Jake asked. "Too close," Amy replied. "I watched a Nexari trade fleet attack a group of ethereal exploration ships near the New California orbital station. The Nexari thought the ethereals were there to help humans escape the quarantine. The ethereals thought the Nexari were there to attack the human colony." Dr. Carter pulled up her latest intelligence reports. "According to the communications I'm intercepting, each species is interpreting every other species' actions as part of some grand human plan. The Corvans think we convince the ethereals to distract them while we prepare our real attack. The ethereals think we tricked the Corvans into attacking them so we could escape blame. Lieutenant Sarah Parker ran into the command center with an emergency communication tablet. "Captain, we just received a priority signal from Earth. The communication array is almost finished. But there's a problem." Jake read the message and his heart sank. "They want to know what kind of message to send. Admiral Brooks says that Earth's government doesn't know what's happening out here, and they're afraid that the wrong message could make things worse." "What do you mean?" Amy asked. Dr. Carter explained while typing on her workstation. "Any message we send now will be analyzed by every species in the galaxy. If we sound too peaceful, the warrior species will think we're lying. If we sound too strong, the fearful species will think we're threatening them. If we try to explain the technical failure, they might think we're making excuses to hide our real plans." Jake walked to the observation window and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, dozens of alien fleets were fighting battles because of human silence. Earth was about to break that silence, but saying the wrong thing could make the war even worse. "What's happening at the other human colonies?" Jake asked Amy. "New Austin is under siege by 2 different alien fleets fighting each other," Amy reported. "The colonists have locked down their stations and are hiding in the underground shelters. New Boston evacuated their orbital facilities and moved everyone to the planet's surface. The mining colony at Asteroid Base 7 just disappeared completely. We don't know if they evacuated or if something worse happened." Commander Turner brought up tactical displays showing the spread of the conflict. "Sir, based on Amy's report and our communication intercepts, the fighting has reached every human system in the outer colonies. We're looking at a full galactic war." Dr. Carter received another urgent message on her alien communication system. She read it quickly, and her face went white. "Captain, the Galactic Council just sent an emergency broadcast. They're asking all member species to choose sides immediately." "Choose sides for what?" Jake asked. "For the war against humanity," Dr. Carter said quietly. "The Council has decided that human silence was definitely a declaration of war. They're forming a coalition to contain the human threat. But some species are refusing to join, and others are forming their own coalitions to either help humans or fight different enemies." Amy stood up and walked to the tactical display. "This is insane. While I was traveling back here, I saw at least 6 different battles happening at the same time. Species that have been peaceful for centuries are destroying each other's ships. The galaxy is tearing itself apart." Jake felt the weight of command pressing down on him. Aurora 7 was just a small monitoring station, but they were the only humans who could see the full scope of the disaster. They were the only ones who understood how completely the situation had fallen apart. "Dr. Carter," Jake said, "what do the peaceful species want us to say when Earth comes back online?" Dr. Carter checked her diplomatic analysis programs. "The Ethereal Union wants a detailed explanation of human intentions and a promise to share our military capabilities with the Council. The Shifted want us to submit to inspection by their security forces. The smaller species want us to pick sides in their own conflicts with larger species. And the aggressive species?" Jake asked. "The Corvan Empire wants us to surrender unconditionally," Dr. Carter said. "They believe our silence proves we were planning to attack them, so they want to attack us first. Several other warrior species agree with them." Lieutenant Parker received another message from Earth. "Captain, Admiral Brooks says they can have basic communications working in 6 hours, but it will take another week to get full diplomatic systems online. He's asking for our recommendation on what to say." Jake looked around the room at his tired crew. These people had been working for days without rest, trying to understand and somehow solve a crisis that was bigger than anything in recorded galactic history. "Here's what we know," Jake said slowly. "The galaxy is at war because they think our silence means we're planning something terrible. Different species are fighting each other because they can't agree on what to do about us. Our colonies are caught in the middle of battles they don't understand. And Earth still doesn't know any of this is happening, Amy added. So what do? We tell them? Commander Turner asked. Jake thought for a long moment, watching the tactical displays show the spread of the Galactic War. We tell them the truth. We tell them that human silence has caused the largest war in galactic history, and that whatever message we send might determine whether the galaxy destroys itself or finds a way back to peace. Dr. Carter looked up from her communication console, with new worry in her eyes. Captain, I'm receiving reports that some species are now attacking anyone who tries to communicate with humans. They think that talking to us makes you a human ally and therefore an enemy. Jake realized that when Earth finally broke its silence, the galaxy might not even be willing to listen to what humans had to say. The silence that had started this war might have gone on so long that words could no longer stop it. President Karen Johnson stood in the rebuilt communications center on Earth, staring at the massive transmitter that would soon reconnect humanity to the galaxy. Admiral Kevin Brooks stood beside her, holding a tablet with the message that could either end the Galactic War or make it worse. Are you sure this is the right approach? President Johnson asked. Dr. Helen Davis, Earth's top expert on alien communication, nodded firmly. Madam President, we can't explain our way out of this crisis. The aliens don't trust our explanations anymore. We have to show them our intentions through actions. Admiral Brooks read the message one more time. It was unlike any diplomatic communication Earth had ever sent. Instead of explaining the technical failure or defending human actions, it did something completely different. This message takes responsibility for everything, Brooks said. Even though we didn't cause the war on purpose, we're accepting blame for it. Are we sure that's wise? It's the only thing that might work, Dr. Davis replied. The galaxy is fighting because they think we planned this crisis. If we try to convince them it was an accident, they'll think we're lying. But if we take responsibility and offer solutions, they might listen. Captain Jake Morrison watched from Aurora 7 as Earth's communication array came online. After 8 days of silence, humanity was about to speak to the galaxy again. But Jake wasn't sure the galaxy was ready to listen. Dr. Carter, what's the current battle status? Jake asked. Dr. Lisa Carter checked her alien communication monitors. 43 different battles happening across 18 star systems. The Corvan Empire is fighting the Ethereal Union, the Nexari Collective, and 3 smaller species. The peaceful species are trying to protect human colonies, while aggressive species try to attack them. It's complete chaos. Lieutenant Sarah Parker prepared the broadcasting equipment. Captain, Earth is requesting that we relay their message to all alien frequencies simultaneously. They want every species in the galaxy to hear this at the same time. Do it, Jake said. The message began with Admiral Brooks' calm, steady voice, speaking in perfect galactic standard language. But instead of excuses or explanations, the first words were shocking. To all species of the galaxy, this is Admiral Kevin Brooks of the Human Space Command. We take full responsibility for the current crisis and the wars that have resulted from our silence. Across the galaxy, alien communication operators stopped what they were doing and listened. On Corvan warships, soldiers paused in the middle of battle preparations. In ethereal council chambers, diplomats gathered around their communication devices. We understand that our silence has caused fear and uncertainty, the message continued. We understand that different species have interpreted our actions as threats to their security and way of life. We do not ask you to believe our explanations. Instead, we offer our actions as proof of our peaceful intentions. Captain Dan Miller, still held prisoner on the Corvan flagship, watched Commander Thak's reaction to the message. The alien warriors' expression changed from anger to confusion as he listened. Effective immediately, Admiral Brooks continued. All human military forces are standing down. We are transmitting the locations and capabilities of every human warship, defense station, and military installation to the Galactic Council. We hide nothing from you. Commander Thack looked at Dan in surprise. Your species is revealing all. Your military secrets? This is not what we expected. The message went on. We are also opening all human space to inspection by any species that wishes to verify our peaceful intentions. Our colonies, our research stations, our trade facilities, all are available for your examination. Dr. Carter monitored the alien communication channels as the message played. Captain, the alien chatter is incredible. They don't know what to make of this. No species has ever voluntarily revealed their military capabilities to potential enemies. The message continued with specific offers to each major species group. To the Corvan Empire, we offer complete transparency in all human military activities and request joint training exercises to demonstrate our defensive rather than aggressive capabilities. To the Nexari Collective, we offer favorable trade agreements and request their help in rebuilding the galactic economy damaged by this crisis. President Johnson's voice joined Admiral Brooks on the transmission. To the Ethereal Union and all peaceful species, we request your guidance in establishing new communication protocols to prevent future misunderstandings. To the smaller species who have suffered during this conflict, we offer our protection and resources to help rebuild what has been damaged. Captain Amy Foster, monitoring the transmission from her ship near the New California colony, watched as the alien fleets around her began to change their behavior. Ships that had been firing at each other minutes before slowly stopped their attacks. This is incredible, Amy reported to Aurora 7. The alien fleets are standing down. They're not retreating, but they're not fighting anymore either. The message reached its climax as President Johnson addressed the core of the crisis. We know that words alone cannot undo the damage caused by our silence. Therefore, we are taking immediate action to prove our commitment to galactic peace. Dr. Davis had designed this part of the message carefully. Instead of asking the aliens to trust human words, they would demonstrate human intentions through unmistakable actions. Human ships throughout the galaxy are now positioning themselves between warring fleets to serve as neutral mediators, President Johnson announced. We place ourselves at risk to help end the conflicts that our silence began. Captain Morrison received urgent reports from human ships across the galaxy. Sir, it's working. Human vessels are moving into battle zones and broadcasting continuous peace messages. The alien fleets are hesitating to fire when humans are in the middle. Commander Thack released Dan Miller from detention and brought him to the Corvan Command Center. Captain Miller, your government's message is unlike anything in our military history. Species do not usually make themselves vulnerable to prove their peaceful intentions. That's because humans think differently about peace and war, Dan explained. We don't see peace as weakness or war as strength. We see peace as something worth taking risks to protect. The message concluded with President Johnson's personal promise. The galaxy has spent 8 days fearing what humans might do. Today we show you exactly what humans will do. We will work to heal the damage our silence caused. We will help rebuild what this crisis has destroyed. And we will never again allow poor communication to threaten galactic peace. Dr. Carter monitored the alien responses as they began flooding in. Captain, the Ethereal Union is accepting our offer for new communication protocols. The Nexari are requesting immediate trade negotiations. Even some Corvan commanders are expressing interest in joint military exercises. But the most important response came from the smaller species who had been caught in the middle of the conflict. One by one, they began broadcasting messages of support for the Human Peace Initiative. This is the Deltan Republic, came one transmission. We accept human protection and request assistance in rebuilding our damaged trade stations. This is the Vegan Assembly, came another. We support the human proposal for new communication protocols and offer our help in preventing future crises. Captain Morrison watched as the tactical displays showed battles ending throughout the galaxy. The immediate crisis was over, but he knew the real work was just beginning. "Dr. Carter," Jake said, "what's the long-term outlook?" "It will take months to rebuild the trust and repair the damage," she replied. "But humanity has done something unprecedented. We've turned our biggest failure into our greatest demonstration of peaceful intent. The galaxy will remember this." President Johnson's final words echoed across the galaxy. "We remain silent not by choice, but by accident. We speak now by choice, and we choose peace." The silence that had nearly destroyed galactic civilization was finally broken, replaced by something far more powerful, the sound of species working together to build a better future.